You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We begin tonight with Hurricane Michael making landfall along the Florida Panhandle as a Category 4 storm, the first of its kind to hit that area in recorded history. The storm barreling into Mexico Beach with 155-mile-an-hour winds and is now threatening the coast with storm surges of up to 14 feet. ABC's Elizabeth Herr is in Panama City with the latest.
Hurricane Michael making landfall on Mexico Beach, lashing the Florida Panhandle with 155-mile-per-hour winds. Oh! Michael, now the worst storm to slam this coastal area in a century.
You know,
Transformer blue. Are we still on? Are we on?
Knocking out power to our affiliate WMBB while they were live on the air providing wall-to-wall coverage. Hurricane Michael flooding streets in Apalachicola and sending debris flying as witnessed by our ABC teams spread across the region.
I just saw something I have never seen in real life. I saw an entire home taken off of its foundation and rolled down the street.
ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z seeking shelter inside her hotel in Mexico Beach where Michael made direct landfall.
My heart is racing. We just watched that happen in real time. And I'll tell you right now, it makes you shake.
It's gonna go, it's gonna go.
And David Muir's team on the ground in Panama City capturing structures collapsing right before their eyes. President Trump in Washington meeting with FEMA and emergency officials promising Florida any and all resources necessary as Michael roars inland, already leaving a path of destruction. Nearly 400,000 Florida residents were ordered to evacuate, and those who did not, they're being told to shelter in place because right now, as you can see, it is just too dangerous even for first responders to answer any emergency calls. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Panama City Beach, Florida.
Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. Sometimes, Bob, the problem with these storms are winds. Sometimes it's rain. In this case, it looks like it's both.
You got it right. And we've got a very strong storm. In fact, it's the fourth strongest storm ever to hit the U.S. Behind some pretty big names there. We have Andrew, also the Labor Day hurricane 1935, and Hurricane Camille. Those are the three strongest, but this is by far the strongest storm ever to hit in October. On top of that, it's the strongest storm ever to hit the Panhandle of Florida in history. As far as that goes, it was a system that was actually strengthening as it made landfall. The pressure on it went down to 919 millibars, and actually that was a lower pressure than Andrew was as it made landfall. So again, still causing significant problems here and still causing problems in our area. We had just a water spout reported that moved ashore on into Lido, and it hit one of the hotels there and then eventually went back up into the clouds. There's a tornado watch in effect over North Florida and into all of Georgia. We are not under that watch, but as I've been talking about for the past several hours now, these cells have a tendency to fire up tornadoes or water spouts very quickly as they move on shore. There's enough twist in the atmosphere to generate a quick, brief tornado or a water spout like we saw with this cell right here. It was not very impressive on the radar screen, but this is the radial velocity, and I'll show you. We kind of went back in time here, started it off at around 6:15 and worked it till around 6:40, and you can see this is the cell that produced it right there. There wasn't much of a signature, but just enough to show that water spout that moved on shore and quickly dissipated. Elsewhere, we've got some heavy rain still occurring near Inglewood, stretching up toward Northport, and that is moving off to the east-northeast at around 20 to 30 miles an hour. They're moving at a good clip, and we'll see other storms popping up and firing up right here that have the potential for producing very brief, isolated tornadoes, but more so gusty winds up to 40, 50 miles an hour. Not out of the question, some brief downpours, and then they move on to the northeast. We'll see this periodically throughout the night tonight and even into the morning hours, although less of a chance as the system pulls further away from us. You can see heavy rain still occurring throughout Georgia now, and looks as though even into southeast Alabama getting hit hard by hurricane force winds there. Power outages are going to be numerous throughout central Georgia as the system works to the northeast. It is no longer a major hurricane The last advisory has just come out, the 7 o'clock advisory. It's now down to 100-mile-an-hour winds. It made landfall with winds at 155 miles an hour. And you can see the forecast path and track going to race off to the northeast. So it shouldn't be a big problem with heavy rainfall over the Carolinas, but it still caused some problems in the future. Now, as far as the history goes on, look at that. The strongest hurricane ever in the panhandle of Florida, lowest pressure in October, and the 4th strongest to hit the U.S. And the damage is still yet to be assessed. Alan, back to you.
Bob, thank you. Within the last hour, Governor Rick Scott spoke about the damage done by Hurricane Michael. Scott says he spoke with President Trump, who is willing to help with any recovery efforts needed. Scott's main priority right now is to search for anyone who is missing.
As soon as Michael passes, we will have a massive wave of response and support coming down and around the Panhandle. We'll have more than 1,000 search and rescue personnel deploying immediately after Michael passes.
Also says there are 192,000 law enforcement officers on standby. On Anna Maria Island, they're still seeing some effects of the storm. Flooding from the storm caused classes to be canceled today at Anna Maria Elementary School, but Manatee County's emergency management chief says there hasn't been any significant damage to the island from the storm and any erosion caused by it. People have been out surfing throughout the day, and officials are reminding surfers to be careful. The city of Sarasota took precautionary measures to protect Lido Beach. The city manager believes more beachfront sand was lost overnight, but says it could have been much worse. The city spent $30,000 for massive sandbags to protect Lido Beach, but they were washed out this afternoon. The waves washed out the first set of bags, which the city says will need to be replaced before the next big storm. Although 500 tons of protection were crushed by the waves, the city says the bags did their job.
Thankfully, they were there last night. They protected our public restrooms, our public swimming pool, our pavilion, and the concession stands. And we're going to go to work rebuilding that protection system just as soon as the storm settles down.
The city is waiting until mid-November to start its $3.6 million renourishment project so workers don't have to worry about turtle nesting. And now to one of the hottest political races on the Suncoast. We're talking about House District 73 and the battle between Democrat Liv Coleman and Republican Tommy Gregory. The race started off with a bang before the primary when Republican Melissa Howard was forced to drop out after lying about having a college degree. That cleared the path for attorney Tommy Gregory, who is squaring off against Liv Coleman, a professor at the University of Tampa. And we welcome you both to the Trapezoid tonight on a very busy news day. And we're going to start with opening statements. Each of you get a minute. And Liv, why don't we start with you?
Okay. Thanks so much, Alan, for having me on the show, and thanks so much to all your viewers for being with us here tonight. My name is Liv Coleman, and I'm an educator from a family of educators, and I'm running to make Florida Public Schools #1. I'm also a first-time candidate, so that means I've been really busy knocking on doors, attending all kinds of community events, and trying to get to know people's concerns all across the community, as well as what their hopes and vision is for the state of Florida. And one of the things that I hear is a top priority of families in the area is a concern that their students are on lockdown in the schools far too often. We need to make sure that our students are safe in schools. We need to make sure that we keep our public dollars in the public school system, and we need to make sure that our schools have the tools and infrastructure that they need to do the job. This means fully funding our schools and also taking a step away from high-stakes testing so that we can have a more balanced approach to teaching in our schools. It also means fighting for majority priorities like environmental protection, affordable, high-quality health care for all Floridians, and common-sense gun safety reforms.
All right, Liv, thank you. Tommy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alan. I'm running for the Florida House because I'm passionate about continuing to serve our country by fighting for the people of Florida. My name is Tommy Gregory, and I know how to fight. As a prosecutor, I fought for victims in the courtroom by prosecuting murderers, drug dealers, rapists, and child predators and put them in prison where they belong. And my wife and I both graduated from the Air Force Academy, served 20 years on active duty, and deployed multiple times. As a JAG, I gave the legal advice and authorization for dozens of strikes on Taliban and al-Qaeda terrorists. But now our democracy is under attack at home by people that believe that big government is the answer to any problem, or that we can tax and regulate our way to prosperity. We need to elect leaders that will fight for us, that will defend our liberties, increase our prosperity, and enforce the rule of law. That's what I'll do, and that's why I'm running.
All right, excellent. When we come back, the candidates will begin answering our questions. What will be the first question? We'll find out in a moment. Stay with us.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com.
Ghetto's got it.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
Welcome back to the House 73 debate between Democrat Liv Coleman and Republican Tommy Gregory. Our first question tonight is not necessarily about this race, but it's about our politics. We've been reporting this terrible Hurricane Michael, that's devastating the northern part of our state, the Panhandle. And today there has been some criticism that obviously Mayor Gillum, the Democratic nominee, is dealing with his city, the city of Tallahassee, but the Republican Ron DeSantis is still launching attack ads on this campaign today of all days. Same thing with Bill Nelson. He is still running campaign negative ads against Rick Scott on all days where the governor is doing other things. And Tommy, let me start with you. If you had the opportunity, and you do right now, what would you say to Senator Nelson and Congressman DeSantis about running these ads on a day like today?
Well, I don't know, how the timing of those ads worked out, Alan. When and who is really behind those ads. I know from my own personal experience. In fact, I brought with me today an ad that reached my neighbor's mailbox, and I know it didn't come from my opponent, but it came from people that were backing her. And frankly, it's troubling for a couple of reasons. One, because it came out on today of all days, and two, because it's packed full of things which are quite frankly clearly false. There's allegations in here that say things like I voted for millions and billions in tax cuts for the wealthiest 1%. Statements that I oppose pay increases for Florida teachers. Things that can't possibly be true because I've never been elected, and can't can't be true because they're not. Because in every debate and every public forum I've ever participated in, I've said exactly the opposite about pay increases for teachers. So it's hard to really criticize either of those candidates for negative campaign ads because we don't know who sent them. Is it a dark money problem that went into those ads and pushed them out? But I do think we would all agree that today is not the day for those type of ads to be hitting.
All right, Liv, I'll let you respond to that, but also talk about the attack ads from Ron DeSantis and Senator Nelson on today of all days.
Well, as an educator, I have a strong commitment to fact-based, data-driven analysis as well as fact-based, data-driven ads. So I think that's a standard that we should hold all of ourselves and all of the groups associated with us or backing us to that standard. But it also means a standard of taking care of our communities. And if there are attack ads that are being launched on a day where we should all be coming together and focusing on priorities for making sure that people are in safe positions and making sure that people are taking care of their neighbors, then we should be focused on that instead of attacking each other.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. Our debate between the State House District 73 candidates continues right after we get a check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We're continuing to watch the progression of this major hurricane. At one point now has been downgraded to a Category 2 hurricane as it's over land now. It's lost the energy of the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, which were excessively warm. It also went over the Gulf Loop current, which may have aided this system in becoming a huge storm with a pressure of 919 millibars. You don't see that very often. This is historic. This storm will not be used in 6 years. It will be retired. The name Michael will no longer be used because of that. You can see the eye now is not nearly as defined as it once was, but it's still causing problems through the panhandle of Florida. You must understand that the winds are still coming out of the southwest here, and that water is still causing all sorts of problems and headaches in the Big Bend area. Even along the coast there from Cedar Key, they're still experiencing the storm surge. We here are experiencing some problems too, and we will do through this evening. A brief water spout out of the question. I'm going to take you through time here. This is a Van Wezel webcam, and you'll notice off in the distance by the tower here, you'll see it, a little brief shower, very innocuous, not very much to it, and that produced a water spout that kind of blew up and moved into Lido Key, then quickly dissipated. Now we're not looking at anything there now, but we have more showers in the offing out in the Gulf of Mexico. Tornado watch in effect, not for us, but to the north, but we still have the potential for an isolated tornado here through this evening. You can see this one feeder band right here, pretty active near Northport, generating some lightning as well. And the one cell that did produce that water spout, there wasn't much to it. Quickly kind of faded away as it headed into Manatee County. And that's the story with these storms. If you see these low-hanging clouds around, there's always a potential for them to whip up a little EF0, EF1 tornado pretty quickly. We've had 2 water spouts already associated with these bands moving on in. One earlier this morning, right around 9 o'clock, and another one just shortly after 6:30, right around 6:30. You can see the activity racing to the northeast. There are a couple of other showers starting to pop up here and there, and that's all they are. They're small right now, but as they get closer to the coast, there's a chance it could get a little stronger and bring brief periods of some heavy rainfall. This one in particular is starting to generate some lightning, getting some vertical height to it anyway. Near Northport, you're going to get some pretty heavy rainfall there. It's already starting to move through Tarpon Point and Warm Mineral Springs. Down to street level we go. You can see it right there at 41 and Sumter Boulevard near West Price Boulevard. Some pretty heavy rainfall. All that is heading off quickly to the northeast. So we'll see these periodic showers and a few isolated storms through this evening. Not everyone's going to see them, but the winds will stay kind of brisk, anywhere from 15 to 20 miles an hour, and a little bit gustier with those showers and storms that do develop. Well, this is not over yet. Heavy rainfall now in Albany. It's expected to go right over Albany as a hurricane with winds up to possibly 75 to 85 miles an hour when it enters there. Already they're down to about 100 miles an hour, so the winds are weakening. The gusts maybe not be as high as 155. That's what it came in as, a 155-mile-an-hour storm, and it will continue to cause problems through South Carolina, North Carolina, then out into the Atlantic. Well, sustained winds have come down a little bit. As I said, they're anywhere from 15 to 20 inland. a little higher near the beaches. Anna Maria reporting a wind sustained at 26 miles an hour, and anywhere from 15 to 20 down south near Venice and Minnesota Beach, and also near Inglewood. Well, the tropical season is not over yet, and it's officially an active hurricane season. We've had a lot of storms so far, and we still have a month and a couple of weeks to go. We're watching the progression of Nadine, and Leslie's been out there for 18 days. It continues to possibly stay out there for 5 more as it heads over some warmer waters. Nadine's going to kind of fade away and head as just a tropical wave toward the Caribbean. So I don't think it's going to be a big issue over the next 5 days, but down the road when it gets in the Caribbean, there is a chance. And the National Hurricane Center is watching this area. Next 5 days, there's a chance something could pop up there. It's a pretty good chance of that at 50% right now, with a 0% chance over the next couple of days. So it's not over yet, folks. 70% chance for showers tomorrow with some showers rolling onshore. We'll have a little front move through on Friday afternoon, and it'll cool us down. Upper 60s to low 70s to start the day on Saturday, but temperatures will still stay pretty warm, though, through the weekend. Highs will be slightly above average with a better chance for rain Tuesday and Wednesday. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Rugs as Art. You know the name, you know the building, but do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore, but there is so much more. Amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as Art and more. There is so much more to explore.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
I thought I was too far gone. I wasn't.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
The world is a beautiful place again.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
The body, it is a work of art and a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. A new approach called immunotherapy works by helping our immune system correctly identify and eradicate many types of cancer cells. Speak with your doctor and visit su2c.org/immunotherapy to learn more. Your body might just be your greatest hope.
Welcome back to the House 73 debate between Democrat Liv Coleman and Republican Tommy Gregory. And Liv, let me direct this question to you. After the Parkland shooting, the legislature did pass the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school safety bill. It does a lot of things, including raising the age in terms of purchases of some weapons and also money for SROs. What is the one thing that was not accomplished in that piece of legislation when it comes to school safety that you would like to see?
The thing I would most like to see changed is the expansion of universal background checks. Well over 90% of Floridians support universal background checks as a part of a package of common sense gun safety reforms. I think there's more to be done even beyond that, but that would be the first place to start.
Okay, Tommy?
Well, the one thing that I would have added, I think your question is what would you have added to the bill, and I know what the legislators at the time wanted to add, and that was more funding. But you know, that tragic shooting, that tragic situation occurred near the end of the legislative session when there was only so many dollars left in our budget, which of course constitutionally is required to be balanced. So I think they did the best they could finding money, and they put, you know, $400 million into school safety programs. But I think the thing all legislators could agree on in a bipartisan way is that we need more funding to keep our schools safe.
Let me ask you about this, because this did come up after Parkland in terms of assault weapons. Would you be for or against banning assault type weapons in Florida?
Well, that's an easy question for me, Alan, and it's because I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe that words have meaning when they're written, and that if we don't enforce the words as written and look to what the spirit and intent of those words were, then we're wasting our time, and we're really just subjecting ourselves to the whims of whoever happens to be in power at the time. You know, my wife and I both served 20 plus years in the military. Between the two of us wore the uniform for about 50 years. And I can tell you, we believe and we know that our country is the greatest in the history of the world because we have a lot of rights in our Constitution, and I'm always going to defend those rights.
All right, same question to you, Liv. Would you be for or against banning assault weapons in Florida?
I would support an assault weapons ban. We don't need weapons of war in our schools, in our movie theaters, in our neighborhoods, in our communities. They cause just too much damage. They can create incredible injuries because of the high muzzle velocity. And we need to make sure that these most dangerous weapons are off our streets. And I think one way we could actually start with such a ban, there's already a state senator who proposed to start out with a moratorium for 2 years on new sales of assault weapons and to do a research study. I support that.
We have to take another break. We are just getting warmed up. Our debate between the State House 73 candidates will continue after a quick break. Stay with us.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Be a Heart Walk hero. I'm Scott Dennis. Join ABC7 and the American Heart Association for the 2018 Suncoast Heart Walk. It's Saturday, November 10th at J.D. Hamill Park. Walk with us to help raise funds to fight heart disease and stroke. Your support will help us advance life-saving breakthroughs that will keep more hearts beating. We can't save lives without your help. Register for free and walk with us to have fun and help hearts. For more information, visit suncoastheartwalk.org.
A home can be much more than just a house. But for some of our neighbors, home means uncertainty and isolation. At Rebuilding Together, we turn houses into homes and revitalize our communities. Because a neighborhood is more than just houses and streets. It's familiar faces and open arms. Join the movement to ensure everyone can live in a safe home and community. Become a rebuilder today.
Like ABC7 on Facebook to stay connected to the team you trust. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back to the House 73 debate between Democrat Liv Coleman and Republican Tommy Gregory. Red tide has been one of those issues over the last couple of months which have really devastated the Suncoast, and there's been a lot of debate. It's a natural occurring phenomenon. We all understand that. But the debate is whether or not we have done anything to make this problem worse. Tommy, let me start with you. Look, your party has been in control of the legislature and the governor's mansion for the last 20 years. Has state government done enough to either stop nutrients from getting into our water supply that adds to red tide, or is this unrelated to the governor and the legislature or even local governments?
Well, Alan, the first thing you pointed out is that it's a naturally occurring phenomenon. And the question is really whether anybody is doing enough. You can't ask, you can't narrow it down to 20 years and say, have the Republicans done enough? The question is, have we done enough since human beings really have been in Florida? And I think scientists would tell us without dispute that if you took all the humans out of Florida, you would still have red tide here. I think that Republicans are showing true leadership on this, and that is they are running to the problem. They're not running away from it. They are saying loudly and clearly, we are concerned. We know that Florida depends for both tourism and agriculture on clean water. We've got to have it, and red tide hurts us, really hurts our economy. I think Visit Sarasota said that 90% of our local businesses have suffered from red tide. The things that the Republican leadership certainly supports, and I think, again, we should have bipartisan support here, are continuing to do things that remove the nutrients from the water. The things that scientists tell us that the algae is feeding on. And we can do those by continuing the programs that Sarasota County and Tallahassee have done. That's supporting septic to sewer conversions, that's supporting water storage and treatment, stormwater runoff collection and treatment, and then of course demanding and really working with our federal counterparts to repair the Herbert Hoover Dike.
All right. Liv, same question to you.
I think there's really been a problem under the current administration in the last 20 years of one-party rule, because we've seen especially, we've seen erosion of water quality standards for monitoring water quality. We've seen water management budgets slashed, and we've seen a lack of protections to make sure that we don't have leakage from septic systems that gets into our waterways. So we need common sense oversight over our waterways, and we also need to just get back to basics. For example, Florida Florida voters supported Amendment 1 in 2014, the Land and Water Conservation Amendment, to set aside land for conservation and to protect critical watersheds. And because we're not funding that every year like we should be in accordance with the voters' wills, we get extra runoff in our water streams. We don't have protection of estuaries. We don't have protection of the marshes that filter out the nutrients as they get into the bay. So we need to honor the will of the voters, and we need to protect our environment at every step of the way. And I'm proud to be endorsed by the Sierra Club of Florida because I'm a strong supporter and environmental champion.
All right, let's get back to the issue of education. In fact, earlier this week, we did a whole show on the education plans of both candidates for governor, and they are radically different. Governor Gillum, Mayor Gillum is proposing raising corporate taxes and adding $1 billion to the public education system to give school teachers a raise. Congressman DeSantis wants to also look for efficiencies to put more money in the classroom, but also expand school vouchers. What's wrong with Liv giving families and students the opportunity to go to private schools that they may not on their own be able to afford?
I'm supportive of the principle of school choice, but I think there's much more we can do with it in the context of a traditional public school system. I think it's great to work with local leaders to promote options such as magnet schools and other kind of community-driven priorities. And there is also a role to play for charter schools, so they can meet the needs of special kinds of students or provide special distinctive kinds of programming. That might be, an example would be Manatee School for the Arts or the Sarasota Military Academy. So I support school choice, but I think we don't need to be, we should be keeping public dollars in the public school system and not diverting it for for-profit entities.
And same question to you, Tommy, including the fact that we don't have enough teachers in Florida. So shouldn't they be getting a pay raise in order to attract and retain new teachers?
Well, as I said at the beginning, Alan, I support a pay raise for teachers. The question is how much and how do we fit it into the budget? But I think you can find bipartisan support for that. And I'm happy to hear that Liv agrees with me that school choice and local home school board decisions really lead to great results, both in Sarasota and Manatee County. For our charter schools and private schools, we are starting to lead the state and in many cases the country because we offer so many school choices.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second, because we were all at Tiger Bay a couple of weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to see you both take part in the panel there, and there was a question about socialism and whether the Democrats are now running from Florida to California on a platform of socialism. Liv, let me ask you straight out, are you a socialist?
Alan, I'm glad you asked. I'm an educator, so I like to keep my message simple. I'm a supporter of free markets, but at the same time, to have sustainable free markets in the long run, we need to make sure that we have protections in place for seniors, for working families, for students, for consumers, for everybody in our community. And so we need to make sure that we don't have corporations running amok, but we keep in place these kinds of common sense protections.
Tommy, I'm not going to ask you if you're a socialist, but I will point out that when you're talking about shared responsibility, when you talk, whether it's about police or firefighter or Social Security, those are socialist from the point of view that we all pay taxes for the common good.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Our system of government necessitates and requires that we provide common services. The question really is whether or not we are shocked and appalled by the fact that candidates around the state and across the country have unabashedly embraced socialist platforms. That worries me. I've lived and deployed all around the world, Alan, and I know that countries that embrace socialism and form these great big governments really destroy prosperity and create an environment of dependency.
Liv, let me stay with that for a moment because you know, there's been a lot of discussion in terms of California and what it does there, and also candidates from New York State. But are you concerned that that Democrats and candidates like yourself are basically being tagged by the socialist banner there, and you know, that a lot of people, maybe in the progressive community, really want things like that in terms of Medicaid, Medicare for all, and so forth?
Again, I'm a supporter of a free market system, and I think there is more we can do for market-based approaches. But you know, I think it's reasonable to rethink. We have too many people who are plagued with problems in our healthcare system, so I think it does deserve a rethink and a new approach. But I think one of the things I'm most disturbed about in the federal government right now is actually a move away from free market principles towards tariffs and trade wars. And I think there's more we can do to actually get back to basics.
And Tommy, let me ask you this, because in some states like Ohio, with a Republican governor, they took Medicaid expansion, which has helped a lot of people in states like that. Would you revisit that here? Because there are suggestions that could really help the problem in terms of healthcare in Florida.
Well, I think the legislature should always revisit past decisions to make sure they made the right decision, but I don't think expanding Medicaid is likely to lead to the right answer for Florida. You know, Florida already takes in $15 billion more a year from the federal government than they're sending in. And, you know, frankly, the federal government is addicted to deficit spending. That's their drug of choice, and they can't move away from it. Florida has got to find a way to set up our own healthcare system that's not dependent on the whims of the legislators in Washington, D.C.
Okay, we have to take another quick break. Our debate between the State House District 73 candidates will continue after these messages. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com.
Ghetto's got it. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do.
Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000.
Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are.
Welcome back to the House 73 debate between Democrat Liv Coleman and Republican Tommy Gregory. And Tommy, let me ask you this. You have a lot of priorities if you get elected to go to Tallahassee, but what would be the one thing that you would like to accomplish more than anything else?
Well, the one thing that we've always got to do is make sure that we are defending our constitutional rights in any legislation we pass. I think it would be a mistake to have as a goal, for example, to be up there and to go to Tallahassee and pass as much legislation as possible. The goal should be to, reach out to subject matter experts, get their advice, make thoughtful, data-driven decisions that help Floridians, and in this case, the residents of District 73. The two items that I would be focused on would be infrastructure and education, because we know that businesses need improvements in infrastructure, whether you're talking about the transportation corridors or port enhancements, and we know that education is really the key for our children's future so that they can contribute in the environment and the jobs that are needed now and in the future. So infrastructure and education is where I would focus.
Okay, Liv, same question to you. If there was one thing that you could accomplish if you were elected to as state representative, what would that be?
It would be to continue to work to make Florida public schools #1. And I think that means fully funding our public schools, but also backing away from high stakes testing. When I talk to parents, when I talk to teachers, principals, sometimes even students themselves, people are really just sick and tired of the culture of high stakes testing and the incredible pressure that puts on our students. I hear stories of 8-year-olds who are throwing up at night before the exams. I hear stories of first graders who are afraid already about what it's going to be like to take their 3rd grade exam. I think it's better to educate in a supportive, positive way, especially for the younger grades. And of course there's a role for testing and assessment in our schools, but I think it just needs to be done in a more balanced approach. And that way our teachers can also not just teach to the tests, but also foster critical thinking and communication and creativity.
Did you want to respond to that?
I'll just respond to that to say, of course, we need to move away from an environment based on this high-stake testing. We have to have some type of testing. I agree with Liv. We have to have some way to measure the students' performance. But really, this high-stake testing was started a long time ago, before Liv moved to the state of Florida under a Democratic governor. So it's time to move away from that, realize the mistakes of the past, and reduce the stress and anxiety on our kids.
Let me ask you this, Tommy. One of Congressman DeSantis' surrogates was here earlier this week, and you know, Mayor Gillum has been talking about raising teacher pay to $50,000 a year. The DeSantis campaign said that principals should have the ability to negotiate separately with teachers for merit wage increases, and the question would be, that's usually something that's handled by the union collective bargaining. If you did something like that, would you be doing away with teacher unions?
Well, I'm not sure how you'd have to negotiate some sort of new agreement with the unions to figure out a way to do that, but I really love it as an idea to put the power in the hands of the people that are supervising our teachers, for them to be able to negotiate bonuses or higher salaries for our best performing teachers and reward them for that good work.
Liv, same question to you again. Is that a good idea? And B, would that not undercut collective bargaining?
I think, well, unions have been under attack in the state of Florida for some time, including teachers' unions in the last legislative session. So I'd like to continue to, respect the rights of teachers to their collective bargaining, but we do need clearly more funding for our teachers and higher salaries. So I think there is a role to play, even continue to be at the local level in negotiating those issues.
And the other question that goes back to school safety is, should teachers have the ability to arm themselves in the classroom, Tommy?
Yes, I think they should have the authority to do it, although I don't think that you will see them do it. I think it would require a very limited set of circumstances, a very limited set of teachers, in my mind, would qualify and have the experience, the skill set, and the training to carry a weapon. And I would only do that, in coordination with law enforcement.
The same question to you.
I can't imagine, as an educator, ever being put in a position where one would want to be armed and in a position where you'd have to shoot potentially a student in your own classroom. I don't support arming teachers at all.
Okay. We'll be back with our candidates' closing statements right after we get the final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Good evening, everyone. The story, Michael, obviously a devastating storm for Florida and now through Georgia and southeast Alabama tonight. Although it has weakened from its Category 4 status from 155-mile-an-hour winds down to 100, it is still causing problems throughout the southeast United States, and will do so for the next 48 hours as it makes its way to the northeast, all the way through the Carolina coast. Although we saw a well-defined eye earlier, in fact an amazing eye as it made its way landfall into Mexico Beach, the storm surge reports have come out nearly 14 feet. We're getting some reports already, and we really haven't been able to assess that kind of damage quite yet. Tomorrow with the helicopter flybys, we'll see more and more of that damage, I think, and it'll be pretty spectacular as far as that goes. You can see the storm still causing problems in the Georgia area right now. It's a Category 2 storm, so no longer a major hurricane, but still causing major damage into southwestern portions of Georgia tonight, right through Albany. That's where it's heading. That's where it is right now. And the winds are still going to be strong. Even on Thursday at 2 a.m., the winds will be at 70 miles an hour sustained around its center, which will cause power outages throughout central Georgia. It will weaken as it moves through the Carolinas. You can see the heaviest rain by far now on the northern edge of it, and there's Albany, and it looks like it will get the center of it. It's already getting some heavy rainfall there with tropical storm force winds being reported, and still a lot of piling up of the water in the Big Bend area. As far as tornadoes go, a big threat across much of Georgia and into North Florida. But for us, we've already had a couple of water spots today. One occurred just around 6:30 this evening near Lido, and then that quickly dissipated as it ran into a condominium there. And then we can see some heavier storms now with some lightning flaring up into western portions of Hardee and DeSoto County, heading toward Wauchula. Wauchula expected to get some rainfall here, as well as just to the east of Mayaca City. The rain that was in Northport has since moved on. Some showers down south near Port Charlotte. The winds will start to let up, and that'll be a good sign. Tomorrow morning at sunrise, not nearly as brisk as they have been throughout the day today. They'll be out of the west, though, at around 14 miles an hour there at Sarasota to start today, and then subsiding in the afternoon anywhere from 5 to 10. So that'll be nice. We still have a high tide in the morning. on Thursday right around 3 o'clock or so. It should not be a big issue, I don't think, as far as what we saw earlier. Well, the tropics are not done yet, and it's been an unusually active season. It was supposed to be a below average season or average. It's been above that. And we have Leslie, which is a weird storm. It's been out there for over 18 days now, spinning around, and actually has got back to hurricane status once again. And Nadine's getting ripped apart, so we don't worry about that one too much. In fact, it's way out there in the Atlantic. And an area of disturbed weather here in the western portion of the Caribbean has a chance of developing in the next 5 days. So it's not over until it's over, right? November 30th. And Alan had asked about, is it unusual to see kind of a peak in the season during October? Well, we have our peak in September, right around September 10th. That's when we had Florence. Then we have a little lull. We did that for a couple of weeks, and now we're back into that secondary peak. So it is somewhat normal to see activity here into mid to late October, and then things really quiet down as we head into November. And the next named storm will be Oscar, followed by Patty. Let's hope we don't get there, but I would not be too surprised to see at least 2 more storms before the season is over. We've had 14 storms, 7 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes at that, and that is a little bit above our normal and average season for hurricanes. Let's get to the 7-day forecast to show you what's happening. Improving weather on Friday, high temperature of 87. We'll have a chance for morning showers, a few storms still rolling in from the Gulf of Mexico. And then weekend, and we deserve a good one. We're going to see one. It's going to be beautiful out there. Lots of sunshine, even a cool start to the morning on Saturday. Alan will be back right after this.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Accords on sale is now during our model year-end sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for Accords, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
I feel happiest when I'm out enjoying my favorite things, like spending time in my garden. That's why I need a Humana Medicare Advantage plan.
Many Humana Medicare Advantage plans cover everything from emergency care and hospital stays to doctor office visits and prescription drug coverage. In fact, last year, Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan members saved an estimated $6,900 on average on their prescription costs. Humana has a large network of doctors and hospitals, plans that include vision and dental coverage, and most plans include Silver Sneakers Fitness and a rewards program, all for a $0 monthly plan premium in most areas.
Now I can be happy and healthy and keep enjoying all of my favorite things.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide and see how a Humana Medicare Advantage plan can help keep you enjoying your favorite things.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. Watch Suncoast View weekdays at 9 a.m. on ABC7.
And our candidates join us for their closing arguments. And Tommy, we're going to start with you.
Alan, I believe that we are the greatest country in the history of the world. because we chose to be a nation that values individual responsibility over big government. The question on November 6th is whether the voters agree with Republicans and still agree with the values and principles of the Founding Fathers, or whether the voters agree with the Democrats and want to give more money and more power to the government, and then trust those bickering politicians in Tallahassee and DC to spend our money wisely while trying to take care of everyone and create new programs. I've worked with and for general officers, CEOs, fighter pilots, police officers, and even astronauts in high-profile, high-pressure situations. And as I said earlier, I know firsthand from my life experience that countries that experiment with big government destroy prosperity and create a culture of dependency. My name is Tommy Gregory. I'm ready to work for the people of District 73 in the Florida House.
Liv, you get the last word.
All right, thank you. My name is Liv Coleman, and I'm an educator from a family of educators. And I think being an educator, I have a chance to be in touch with working families in our community and students. And I have a leadership style as an educator that's based in collaboration and leads towards persuasion, toward data-driven, fact-based analyses, and an effort to just get to know the issues really well and do the best possible job, regardless of what endorsements a person may have or what special interests might be behind the scenes, to just try to work really hard on behalf of Manatee and Sarasota communities. I'm proud to be a champion of the environment, endorsed by the Florida chapter of the Sierra Club. I'm endorsed by the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. I'm a Moms Demand Action Gun Sense candidate. And I also want to be as open and accessible as possible to voters. So I have taken the town hall pledge. I pledged to hold a town hall at least once a month so that we can stay in touch with voters, so we can hear their concerns, and we can make sure that we're fostering community dialogue on topics of vision and interest to everybody. So it's just been a thrill getting to know people across the community as part of running for this race, and I hope to have the honor to serve everyone in this community in Tallahassee. Thanks so much.
And we want to thank you both for being here tonight. And we want to thank Democrat Liv Coleman and Republican Tommy Gregory for joining us tonight. And that is all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.